Hi, friends. Today, my guest is the lovely, wonderful Debora Wondercheck. I met Debora a couple of years ago. Those of you who know that Debora and I, among others that you may have heard on this podcast, attended a storytelling cohort, if you will, with Jay Golden, who has been a guest on the podcast as well. And a couple of summers ago, actually, I think it was 2 years ago now, we did a storytelling event in Orange County. And that's really where I met Debora and got to hear her story. So I'm excited for all of you to get to know Debora, to hear her story, her wonderful background. So, Debora, welcome. Good to have you here today, my friend.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Your podcast is amazing. So I feel honored to be considered a guest today. Thank you so much.
Well, I appreciate that. And it's only as good as the guests. And I've been very lucky to have some really great guests. And I've been talking about you with others and talking with you for a while about having you on. Let me just share a little bit about Debora. Her bio reads like a who's who, so I can't go into all of it. Otherwise, we wouldn't have time for this conversation. But I will tell you that Debora is an effective corporate leader with over 18 years of experience in program management, strategic programming, workforce development, and a focus on culturally inclusive artistic training and education in over 50 schools throughout Southern California, which I believe led her to the founding of, and she'll tell us the story, of the nationally awarded Arts and Learning Conservatory. Debora has a proven track record in fundraising, executive leadership, nonprofit governance, and social corporate responsibility. Her professional interests include education, sustainability, board development, and equity and inclusion. She has a tremendous background in arts education, and she has the ability to just, unlike many people that I've met, just a knack for building relationships. You can tell if you're seeing her on YouTube right now, or as we get into this conversation, you're going to hear a lot about Debora and just how engaging she is. So without going into more of her bio now, we'll come back to that. Debora, I want to just start by, I guess we'll start with ALC, Arts and Learning Conservatory. You have your big Gospel Voices Orange County event coming up on June 22nd, which is later this week. Go anywhere you'd like. Talk about, what was the inspiration behind launching Arts and Learning, and then we'll get a diver deep. You're into your fourth annual Gospel Voices, I believe. So let's
Yeah.
go next. But first and foremost, how did you come up with the idea?
Oh my goodness. So the idea of Arts and Learning Conservatory really came from my lived experience. And I'll just give you a brief, an abridged version of it. Basically, I'm a musician, I'm a cellist, and I'm an orchestral conductor. And I got involved in the arts because of my mom's desire to be a musician when she was younger. And as a 10, she wanted to play a musical instrument. She was in a neighborhood or a part of Chicago, a little province in Chicago, where it was a very affluent area. Her family was the only African American family in that particular town, and they were there because her father was very useful with being a handyman and building and things. So they were pretty much allowed into that neighborhood, and the time was 1945.
Mm.
So a lot going on back then with systemic issues and all the things she was dealing with as a family of color in an all-white neighborhood. But anyway, at school, she was amongst all the other kids, wanted to play an instrument. And when it came down to it, she was denied that opportunity due to, again, the systemic issues that were so prevalent during that era and definitely in that town where she lived. That just deeply hurt her. She was just torn over all of that, but had decided at that young age of 10 that when she got married and she had kids, they're all going to play a musical instrument. So, years later, she got married and she didn't have one, but she had one, two, three, four, five, six, seven of us.
Wow.
And I'm number seven.
You're the baby, huh?
I'm the
As
baby.
am I. All right. Very good. Babies unite.
Exactly. So she found a way for us to get involved with playing stringed instruments. So a couple of siblings play violin, like two of them are violin, one played viola, also doubled on violin. I play cello, my brother plays cello, and my sister is a classically trained vocalist who played cello and string bass. So we were just heavily involved. I have one brother with special needs who ended up playing. My mom had him on bells and tambourine and, just something. So he felt involved with
Nice.
what we were doing as musicians. The other side of it is my mom, strong woman of faith, wanted us not just to play these instruments just to play them, but to honestly give glory back to God, because she prayed not only for us, but she also was within her prayer was like, "Oh Lord, and by the way, give him the gift of music,
Yeah.
just and if you give him that gift, I will honor you by having him play for you." So she had us playing in different churches. We played in nursing homes. She had us in community centers. It was all about giving back. We were trained and taught to be altruistic, give, give, give back, because we were blessed to be a blessing
Any
to others.
talent you have was come from God, so turn it right around and glorify Him.
That was her mentality, and
Yeah.
that's what we did, because when mom said something, we do what mom says to do. So that's
Good
what we did.
advice.
Yeah, and the really cool thing is with all of the musical training we were getting, because it wasn't just that we played these instruments, there was a way, and I think it was divinely inspired, that my mom found out how we can get private lessons and realized we needed private lessons. You can't just play an instrument, you need training. So we played in school, but we had private lessons and we were in different orchestras, traveling all over the place, not only with her, but with schools. And with one of our private lesson instructors, who was the cellist for the Chicago Symphony, he told my mom, "Look, if your kids get really good at this, they should be able to get scholarships
Right?
to go to college." So my sweet, loving mom turned into a drill instructor, and we practiced
You
harder.
are earning your college education every day you
Exactly.
practice.
It flipped. That switch flipped. I'm just joking, but what ended up happening is 5 of the 7 of us ended up getting full rides to different universities nationwide, playing our instruments, and it
Wow.
really paved a way that changed the trajectory of our family's lives. Even in the midst of all that, by the time my 3rd oldest sibling received his scholarship to college, there was a whole other side of what was going on in our family. We had all the music, we're faith, believing, going to church, doing all these great things, but we had some issues in our home. And that was, there was some physical domestic violence going on with my father and mom that even trickled into the kids. And
Mm.
it was pretty horrible situation. So my mom, when she realized that, hey, these kids really can go to college and be safe, but it wasn't just about the academics, it was the safety, a place to stay, the food, that we would have, along with being with people that cared about us. She realized by the time the 3rd one left for college that she can handle getting 4 kids and escaping that situation. So once the 3rd one left, the 4 of us escaped. So one night we escaped with my cello on my back, suitcase in my hand, other siblings with their suitcases and instruments, got on a train from Illinois to Denver, Colorado, and stayed in a women's shelter there. We were there for a few months. My dad figured out where we were. We had to escape. So we escaped from Denver to San Diego. We were in the Salvation Army in San Diego, and then again moved from San Diego to Oceanside. And we were in another women's shelter there. So there was a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear that I was experiencing. I was 10 years old at the time when all of this was going on, and a loss of self-esteem. I didn't know what was going to happen next. It was pretty frightful. And at the age of 10, it's such an impressionable age. So by the time we got to Oceanside and we were in that final shelter, there was a school across the street from that shelter that was a performing arts magnet school. And even though I was scared, lonely, didn't want to really talk to anyone, when I went to that school, they had a string, orchestra, small one, and they also had dancing and acting and makeup artistry and painting. They had just beautiful art.
You just lose yourself in the arts there.
Oh my goodness, I came alive again because the instructors saw who I was as a musician and an artist and just brought out the best in me. And I felt safe. It was a safe place to be in that atmosphere. And I literally gained my voice back. I didn't know I had lost it,
Yeah.
but I gained my own personal voice through the music that I played. And when kids heard me perform, they didn't see me as the girl that lived at the shelter or was homeless. I was seen as that cool kid who could play Michael Jackson's Beat It, the bass
Nice.
line of my cello, or,
Nice.
I was cool because I was different. And they saw something in me that I didn't even see, and it pulled that gift and that talent out. And I found my voice through the performing arts.
How old
So
were you, would you say you were when you realized that you had a gift?
About 10,
Yeah.
between 10 and 11, after all that running and searching and being so afraid of what was going to be next, I finally, at that last point, found who I was, and really stood up, was able to speak for myself and just be me, because
Yeah.
I was just so fearful for so long. So yeah, I was about 10,
Yeah.
and it was just a really beautiful thing. So from that experience of, coming into that performing arts school, I remember that even years later, we got out of the shelter, we had our own home, I was going to school, ended up going to high school, got my degree, got my scholarship for cello performance. After leaving college and everything, I kept thinking, I need to do something to give back and to help a child that would have been like me, either from a financial perspective, maybe they were dealing with some domestic violence going on, or even just needed a solitary place to be amongst other students. So I thought, I need to create some kind of performing arts school, or a program for children that would have been like me, where the music program or arts needs to be in their school, as opposed to having to have money to go get lessons and things, because there are so many kids now with music programs and things that have been cut, especially 20 years ago when I started Arts and Learning.
Yeah.
So many programs are being cut left and right, that I felt I had to do something rather than staying at. I used to have music when I was a kid too.
Yeah.
I don't have it. I was like, I got to do something.
It's just the first to go when budgets are cut. So yeah, you got to create something that's not going to get cut.
Exactly, and for me, if I didn't have arts and learning, I mean, if I didn't have music, I don't know where I would be
Yeah.
today.
I was thinking about that. I was going to think, I mean, if you didn't learn how to play music, what would you be doing right now?
I know. So it was literally a lifeline for me. So when I kept hearing, as I became a music teacher and a professor of music, and I kept hearing programs being cut, I'm like, no, I can't. I can't just watch this happen. I need to do something. So that's when I created Arts and Learning Conservatory. But the unique thing about Arts and Learning Conservatory is that we created our program to go into schools, especially those zip codes where people don't want to go into those zip codes and bring the musical theater, orchestra classes, band classes, technical theater, African drumming, Latin percussion. We're doing all that. But what was interesting is that the foundation and the formula for Arts and Learning Conservatory came from that final magnet school that I went to after being in that
You patterned it after where
shelter.
you went from age 10 on.
Yeah, yeah. I
Love
was
that.
like, they had musical theater, they had technical theater, and they had band and orchestra. That's what Arts and Learning Conservatory would be created from that template. So
Is that organization still around?
that school is still around.
Yeah.
It's in Oceanside, and but Arts and Learning, like I said, we've just celebrated, we're celebrating now our 21st year
That's
of
awesome.
being in existence.
Congratulations.
Yeah, yeah. And so we're still making it happen for kids. In the past 21 years, we've brought these programs to over 32,000
Mm.
children in school districts all over Southern California. And now
So,
it's at Compton and
yeah,
Riverside County too.
32,000 kids. That takes me to a question I was going to ask you that I wrote down before we came on today. And I've heard you tell a little of this on stage and on screen and so forth in the past. Can you tell a story or two of little Deborahs that came after you that you saw that might have been going through what you went through, where you could see that in them, whether they came from a similar childhood, running scared? You talked about safety in music. Certainly there is. And I'd love you to talk about that too. But are there stories that come to mind where you saw somebody, male or female, where music virtually or literally saved their life?
Yes. Okay. So I think of the student named Thomas. When I first started with the whole concept of Arts Learning Conservatory, I did teach at a school. And this particular student, he was new to my class. He came in late in the year, came in about, I would say November, and school starts typically September, August. Came in November and wanted to play an instrument, didn't know what. So I'm like, you play the viola because any strings program needs viola students. So he came in and he was learning that. But I noticed that my wonderful string students who always, listened when I would tell them to do something, they were just kind of being, a little rude towards Thomas. And I'm like, what's the problem? You guys, we got work to do. Come on, let's get to
Hmm.
work. And so I noticed it happened a second time, and that's not, I don't have any tolerance for any nonsense with students and classes. It's like we're a team.
We're here to
So I had to
work.
stop
Yeah.
that. Yeah. So I had to stop the class that day, and I'm like, look, I don't know what's going on here, but I'm going to tell you right now, we're here to support one another. This is where we work together. We're only as good as the strongest or the weakest person in here. No one is better than anyone. We all make one voice with
Hmm.
these instruments when we perform. So whatever is going on here, and people are, you guys are talking a little bit too much or being a little whatever you're doing, it stops today. And if it doesn't, you have to deal with me.
Ah,
Okay?
ooh, there you
So
go.
that's liquor.
A little bit of mom in you, huh?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, okay, let's play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star now. And I
Hmm.
just moved on.
Nice.
It calmed down. Things were fine after that point. And just like maybe 2 months later, I get a call from the principal at the school stating, Deborah, can you come to the office? Thomas's mom is here. We call him Tommy. Tommy's mom's here. So I go to the office. Principal is there. Tommy's mom's there, and she's crying. I'm like, oh my gosh, what happened to Tommy? I'm like, is everything okay? And she's like, oh, everything's perfectly fine. Everything's fine. I just wanted to thank you. I'm like,
Wow.
thank me for
Huh.
what? And she's like, I just wanted to let you know, not sure if you knew this, but Tommy has come from, we were at 3 different schools before coming to this school. Tommy was bullied
Hmm.
at the 2 other schools, and this is school number 3. And she said when we first got here, the bullying was starting up again, and then it stopped. And I'm noticing Tommy loves your class. He's eager to get play at practice, and he didn't know anything about viola, and all of a sudden he's loving this class. And I asked him one day, I'm like, what is it about strings class that we were so excited about and that you enjoy? And he's like, Mom, it's because I feel safe.
Hmm.
I'm safe in music class. I'm
Wow.
like, whoa. I mean, I
Right.
was dumbfounded. I didn't even have words then. And every time I think about that, I'm just like, wow, kids need to feel safe.
Totally.
And that's how he felt in my class. And it changed the trajectory of his life, literally. After that experience, he went on and left my program, went to middle school, was in an honor orchestra, playing viola, went to high school, stayed with viola, was in honor orchestra, went to college with viola performance.
Wow.
He attributed it to being in the class with me and stating that that is what changed my life. And you were a key person in that whole transition, all for just making a child feel safe.
Yeah.
So, with the programs that we teach, I tell this story to my staff. I'm like, that is what we're about. If anything, these kids need to feel safe. They need to be seen, and they need to know that this state, this space that they're in is protected just for them. And that changed my life as a teacher. And then again, as I lead my organization and being over the past 21 years, we've been in about 73 schools. Today it's consistently about 40 some schools that we're in annually
Hmm.
now. But that's what we're all about, is
Yeah.
making these kids, giving them a voice like
Right.
I gave.
Well, and like you said, making them feel safe. So at age 10 is when you start to realize you had this talent. You have made a living of helping these kids feel safe and develop their talents and take music as far as they want it to take them, really, it sounds like.
Mhm.
Do you remember that time in your life? So you had to run. You ran your first 10 years.
Yeah.
You're running in your home, getting safe, making sure you're safe, making sure doing whatever you could to keep mom safe, I'm sure. Do you remember a time waking up or just sitting and realizing, wow, I'm totally safe now? I'm not scared anymore. Do you remember having that feeling at all, whether you were a young child or maybe it happened in adulthood?
I think probably by the time I was 13, we were pretty much staying in the same. We moved a lot, but at one point we were in the same. We were in apartments a lot, um, but I felt safe, not just because we were in the same location, but because of my network of people. I had a consistency with my cello teacher, consistency with playing in school. I was always excelling and doing really well. And then we had our church home as well.
Mm.
That was a consistent factor. So
Yeah.
I think between just staying in the same spot, along with the prayers and just the focus that I had, and again, from that one school regaining what my voice was, I finally felt safe with the, my support team. It
Yeah.
was wonderful, but I would say by 13, and that's a critical age too, to
Yeah.
feel safe by then, but by the age of 13, I felt really, really safe.
How has your childhood and the way you were raised formed you into the mother of three? And
Um,
what do you impart on your kids that you learned from mom?
I definitely let them know that they are valued, like, and their voice is valued. I really instill in my kids to speak up for who they are and to also show grace to others. So I have three children. My oldest is more on the quiet side, but very much a loving, hardworking kid, my oldest son. My middle one is a mini me,
Hmm.
but she's like me 2.0. I look at her and
Hmm.
I look at her in awe sometimes. I'm like, girl, you're so bold and so
Huh.
confident.
How'd
And
you get that?
more than
Yeah.
me. Her name is Karis. I'm like, oh my goodness, Kara, where did you get all that from?
Nice.
But she's all three of them. And at my youngest, Cara, my oldest is Kenaniah, my middle one's Karis, youngest is Cara. She's a silent, confident one. Karis is more like me, outgoing and loud. Kara's silent, a silent leader. Students just naturally gravitate to her and look up to her. She doesn't have to say anything. It's just her presence. So she's a silent leader. It's same as my oldest, my son. They're silent leaders. My middle one's more verbal, but she's got all the talent behind her as well
Yeah.
that will just naturally follow her. But
Are they musical?
all three of them are musical.
Yeah. Stupid question. I know. Yeah. No, no, no. They play. Yeah.
They're all sports. They're all
Yeah. No. Yeah.
athletic, and then
Mhm.
also the musicians. I wanted to instill within them, again, that confidence of who they are, but also make sure they were well rounded. So I made sure, even though my son, 6'4",
Hmm.
basketball player, also a football player, he played in the orchestra, he played string bass. I'm
They play in the game and then perform at halftime and then play in the game.
like, hey, you're not getting out of this. I want you to be well rounded. You're not looking down on anyone. You need this to be where the musicians are as sports. And so, yeah, just instilled a lot in them of really empathy for others, along with being kind and also standing up for who they are, having a voice, but definitely being a leader. I've definitely shared that with them all through their lives and always would have them even repeat back to me, what are Wonderchecks? We're
Hmm.
leaders.
Hmm.
We're not followers. We help others. I mean, we have our own little family mantra, and they
Love
would always
that.
repeat that back, and I expected them, my husband and I, to live by that. So
When a child enters your program, what's your hope for them? What do you hope that they'll get out of it?
I number one, I hope that they do see that they are valued, that they see the value in themselves. We as instructors look for the gift inside of them, and we want them to take that gift to the next level. So the children that come to us, some of them don't even know they have a gift and they don't see the value in themselves. We speak that over them and into them, and then make sure they live it out with how they are on stage or playing an instrument or what have you. So we want them to see the value in them and that gift that they have. That's number one that we want our children to walk away with.
Are the kids coming to you already with the talent, or so the beginning kid who doesn't play anything doesn't come into the program? They come in when they're already performing, or they have some sort of proficiency. Is that accurate?
Most of the children that we work with, it's entry level at first, because
Okay.
we'll eventually have classes that are intermediate and more advanced level. But those that are coming at entry level, no, they don't have to have any giftings or talents or don't
Hmm,
necessarily see that. But it's our job to find it
cool.
and to build it within them. And then once they get, like, especially if they're doing theater with us and they start out, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. By the time they do the next production, they're like, "Oh, I want that role," and then they know how to work towards moving up as well, but we take them at all levels.
So on your LinkedIn, when it says about Arts and Learning Conservatory, I'm going to read this, and then if you want to add to it or anything, I know it's probably your words, but just for the audience, it says we set students up for success in life through the arts. We believe that all students should have the opportunity to excel in the arts, so we make the arts equitable and accessible to children's K through 12. Our educational programs bring theater, voice, dance, band, and strings instruction directly into schools and teaches valuable life skills through the arts. Okay, so that's a great description of what you do.
Yes.
Anything you want to add?
Yeah, we've actually added more to that. We do technical theater now.
Mm,
There's plenty of kids who hear about theater and they think they have to be on stage. And now we're showing students, no, you can be behind the scenes. And that's
yeah,
what the class is called, where they can learn about sound and lighting elements, as well as building prop pieces and being more on the stage management side, which theater absolutely needs. And we're creating a career pathway now with that particular program that
awesome.
students can get technical jobs or STEAM type jobs
Hmm.
from doing that. So we've added that in there along with Latin percussion and African drumming.
Oh, very cool. I love
Yeah.
that. Charles and Eric and I recently have been part of a program that our friend Julianne Rail put together, or Anaheim School District, and it's Road Trip Nation. And they interviewed Charles, I think, I don't know if they've interviewed Eric yet, and they interviewed me last week, but talk about that behind the scenes. I thought I was going to walk into a room and be a young student with a microphone, another with a camera, and an advisor. Yeah, that was there, but there was also two sound people, two or three camera people, the
Mhm.
production, the director. They had like 10 kids there, high school kids, doing this whole 30-minute interview. So yeah, there was a lot more to it than what you just see on stage or on
Right.
camera. And that's pretty exciting. I love that. I love that these kids can come to you and learn these trades and learn these opportunities and get this education that they can take and apply. They're not just doing it for fun while they're in school. These are things that a lot of these kids, you probably have a lot of kids that have gone through your program and they're making a living in the
Yeah.
industry now.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we have 20 years. There's quite a few
Yeah.
that are alumni that are in their 30s now, believe it or not, which
Huh. How
really
did that
ages
happen, right?
me.
Yeah. So talk about the Gospel Voices of Orange County, fourth annual coming up June 22nd. Um, not
Yeah.
to date this podcast because people will listen to this after the fact and there'll be a fifth annual next year. Talk about the idea behind this and what can people expect when they come to the show.
So, Gospel Voices of Orange County, what it is, it's a harmonious blend of voices, of instrumental music, of dance, the voice of dance, the voice of instrumental music, the voice of choirs that come together to really sing, play, perform the story of African American culture. And so we started with from enslavement to today. And what it does is it really the whole thing is really rooted in the deep legacy that spirituals and gospel music was at the heart, or is, even if you think back way back when,
Mhm.
at the heart of African American culture. It's the
Yeah.
church and it's God. And so when you have the spirituals and things, that came out of a place of crying out and calling out for change and difference to happen. So with Gospel Voices of Orange County, we're honoring the ancestors. We're honoring those that have gone before us through the songs that they sang, through instruments played and things of that sort. And we're just telling a story and honoring the sacrifices that were made
Hmm.
from enslavement to today. So it's by the time you leave the concert, you're going to be up on your feet,
Right.
clapping, dancing. You're
Yeah.
going to really feel like you've gone to church.
I was going to
But
say,
I'm
you're going
going
to
to
the
church.
church. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is
It's
fun.
not,
I've been to that before. And that's a lot of
it's
fun.
fun. Yeah. It's not like a sad, dreary, no,
No, you're not sitting in there singing out of a hymnal. You're involved. The audience is every bit part of the show.
it's engaging. And what's cool about this concert is this is our fourth annual because I started it right during the time of our nation's civil unrest with oh my goodness, George Floyd and
Yeah.
all the different things that were happening, Breonna Taylor. And I just saw that this is horrible. What's going on right now is you've got here in Orange County at that time, like 5 years ago, the African American population was less and still is less than 3% of Orange County,
Right.
but 50% of the hate crimes were against African Americans. And so that's when I thought really literally had a calling. I need to put together a concert that brings our community together and to see the brilliance of African Americans, especially with artistry and
Yeah.
just the imprint, the indelible imprint that is America, that African Americans have been a huge part of with our culture from an artistic standpoint. And so that's how the Gospel Voices of Orange County came to be. Our first year, we had a choir of 70, gospel choir of 70, Black Brown String Orchestra. We had tap dancers. We had other dancers, modern dance. It was just amazing. By the time we were done with that concert, about 110 African American musicians, actors, singers, dancers were on stage at one time.
I love that.
So we've been refining it each year. Every year you come, it's different. There's plenty of history and stories to be told. So this year, you'll see a reenactment of Sojourner Truth. We're doing a tribute to Nina Simone. We're also doing, again, gospel music, of course, spirituals. We have a special violinist flying in that's classically trained, amazing, world-class violinist that will be playing some pieces as well. So you're going to get a taste of jazz, classical, gospel, spiritual, all of it in one night and leave inspired. So if you're out there and you're someone that's
Right.
down and out and like, oh, I don't know what's happening in our nation, this is the concert for you because literally you will feel enlivened and you'll have inspiration and hope. That's what the concert's all about.
If you can't make it to church on Sunday morning, go to church Sunday night, right? 6 p.m. at the Musco Center on Chapman University campus. I'll put the link for tickets and the event and the agenda and everything up in the notes on this when we post it, both on YouTube as well as on Spotify and Apple and iHeart and all the other podcast platforms. And also as we post this out on socials as well, so people can see. I've got the flyer, so we'll put that on there as well. What's the big need that you have with ALC right now? What would be if someone's listening today and yeah, they're probably going to go to the concert on Sunday or they can't make it, whatever, but they're hearing your story. They've got a child that maybe is interested or just want to engage and get involved in some way. What are kind of those big areas that you're really seeking to fill right now?
There's several different things because we are a nonprofit and we always lean and rely on volunteers and just support. Um, I would say from the standpoint of sponsorship and fundraising, we are looking at the way things are going with the current administration, and it is what it is. Education is being impacted.
Yep.
We're finding that we are needing to continue raising funds for scholarships for students to participate in our program. One of our biggest goals is to raise $250,000, 100% going to scholarships for students. So we are always looking for sponsorships or underwriters or just donors to help us with that. From a volunteer perspective, we would love to get a lawyer involved with Arts and Learning Conservatory,
Sure.
even if it's like a pro bono or something to just help because we're growing so much. The HR laws keep changing. We need to be in alignment with what's happening, and we are on top of it. But it would help to have some legal support within the organization. And then, of course, anyone who wants to help with the administration or marketing, social media, any and all of those areas that you can think of from a business perspective, we would love more support with that so we can reach more children going into more schools and making these programs happen even in a stronger way with more again, more volunteer support.
Yeah.
So those are some of the things that we definitely need support with.
What do you love most about your job?
Oh my goodness. What I love most about my job is it doesn't really even feel like a job.
Mm.
It is a job, but I believe in this so much and I lived the whole experience that I love seeing when children come back and say, you know what, this made a huge difference in my life. And you see that child that was so shy, and all of a sudden they're blossoming and blooming on stage. One more quick story, there was one student who never showed up to school on time, like ever. And we go into that school and did the program Wizard of Oz. She got cast as Dorothy. She must have been super talented, got cast as Dorothy. The principal pulled us aside later and stated, I don't think you know this, but Yesenia, I think was her name, never showed up to school on time. But all of a sudden, when she became Dorothy, she was on time to school, didn't
Nice.
miss a class, made sure her mom got her there on time
Mm.
daily. And even after the play was over, that child felt more a part of the community of her school. And just that's all she needed to take her to the next level. So stories like that are
Yeah.
what I live for and why this mission is means so much to me. It's because that we can see it in real time being lived out in the lives of kids and just changing their lives forever.
Yeah, kids, like all people, I think, need to feel included. They need to have a purpose and they need to feel like they're part of something bigger than themselves.
They
And I
do.
think if we give kids those three things and other things, but yeah, give all of us people, adults, help people feel included, help them feel like they have a bigger purpose, help them feel like they're part of a community, that they have a responsibility, that they're accountable to someone. She became Dorothy and she became accountable to the other people in her cast and to the people who were supporting it. And it
Exactly.
taught her lessons that carried over beyond the play. That's pretty amazing. I love that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
beautiful. But yeah, that's why I do what I do. And yeah, I feel literally blessed to even be here. I mean, I founded it with my husband's help,
Yeah.
like I said, 21 years ago. And if you would have asked me as a 10-year-old or even an 18-year-old, would you want to be running your own nonprofit? And do you see yourself doing that? I would have looked at you like you were crazy.
Heck no.
Oh, me do
Yeah.
something like that? But no, it's just literally been a blessing. I mean, we have our own building.
Yeah. I've been there.
Costa
Yep.
Mesa, we renovated it, and now have a 200-seat theater.
Yep.
And I would want the community to know that that facility is available for renting out,
Great.
because we see that as a social enterprise where the finances from that, from any rentals, will go right back into scholarship funds
Yeah.
for our students. But I just, to have my own building and to have the amazing staff that I do, and the support, because I could not do this without the amazing supportive team that I have. My board is amazing. I just feel completely blessed and honored that this was even given to me to create, given to me as far as being put on my heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's his gift. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
nothing is given, but the inspiration and
Yeah, the
yeah.
inspiration was a gift given to me.
Well, you're doing amazing things with it. Like I said, I've heard you perform. I've heard you tell your story before today. How do people reach you or Arts and Learning Center if they want to get involved in any of the ways we just talked about, or maybe they have an idea of a way they can help you and support ALC? What would be the best way to reach you?
That would be just reach us through my website, artsandlearning.org, and it's all spelled out, artsandlearning.org. You can call us here, 714-728-7100. The other thing that we are doing is we're in all of these schools, but we get calls from other schools, whether it's a charter or private schools, where they don't have music
Hmm.
or these programs. We are in those schools as well,
Nice.
because the arts are for every single child. It's just our focus has been, we want to make sure that the ones in the zip codes that no one goes to, we get these programs to them and take care of those children. But I also understand there are all kinds of, we get calls from all over the place. So we're available to bring these programs into any schools or groups, whether it's foster care, public school, private. We're here for children. They all need these programs because it taps into so many other academic areas to set students up for success in life.
So what does that look like? I've got, as an example, I have two grandsons that go to a small charter school in Huntington Beach. One is in fourth grade, one is in first grade, I believe. Could be off by a grade on either one. I think it's fourth and first. That school learns about this. They want to learn more about what is it? So let's say now you have that call, you have that conversation, you fast forward a year, you're integrated in it. What does that look like?
So that program would look like if it's a musical, we're there twice a week for about 12 to 14 weeks, 2 hours each day. So the kids are with a theater teacher and a music teacher. We bring in a costumer to size them up, get
Hmm.
those costumes on them. And when it's time for the show, we put on a full production right there at the school with the costumes, the sets, the props, lighting designer, a sound designer, the microphones. We are basically theater in a box. We
I
will
love
make
it.
a whole show happen, and we don't have to have 20 parent volunteers. We just come in and make it happen.
You won't say no to parent volunteers, but yeah,
We'll take them.
yeah, we'll take them for sure. Any parent wants to volunteer, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Same with an instrumental program. Most of those programs will go into a school and be there twice a week for the whole school year and do a winter concert and a spring concert for family and friends. So yeah, so we have about 40 teaching artists that
Wow.
are either the band, string, musical theater, technical, and they just go in and make this happen for the children. So yeah, love what we do.
Yeah, it shows. You definitely, that night 2 years ago when we got up on that stage with the rest of our storyteller group and you got up with your suitcase and your cello and you told your story, touched my heart. And I knew right then, this is a person I want to get to know. And this is a story that needs to be told to a lot of people. So hopefully those of you who can hear and watch this today, you'll support Deborah and the Arts and Learning Center. You'll get involved. You'll go to the Gospel Voices of Orange County event this Sunday night, the 22nd. If you're hearing this after the 22nd, don't worry. There's more.
Yes.
There are other events and other things that you'll be doing. Um, what do you, I have kind of two podcasts. I have this long form, like we are just wrapping up today. I've got my own short form that I'm going to take my question now and your answer to this question and probably use this as a little teaser going forward. What do you when you think of the word gratitude, Deborah, what comes to mind for you?
Just thankfulness, gratitude. I think of thankfulness. I also think of honoring. When I think of gratitude, giving gratitude to someone else, just an honoring to them. But it always comes down to just being so thankful and grateful. I don't know if I'm answering that
Yeah,
properly.
I like that. I like that. It's a mindset. It's in your heart. It's not. I did a solo episode a couple weeks ago where I talked about the difference between gratitude and thankfulness.
Oh yeah.
When you're
Okay.
thankful, I think you're more thankful for an event. Someone delivers something and drops off flowers, or we've seen that here. We've received cards and we've received flowers with the passing of my mother-in-law the last couple of weeks. And we
Yeah.
have a very thankful heart. Gratitude is more of a state of mind or state of heart ongoing.
And it's also it's an appreciation, I think, if
Yeah.
you are determining or differentiating gratitude from thankfulness, it is more of a appreciation is what I would think of gratitude as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the end of the,
It is a mindset. You're
yeah,
right.
I think
It's
it
a
is.
mindset.
Yeah.
Because you know what? It's that even ties into someone feeling like they're happy or even joyful. You happiness comes and goes, but joy is like deep
Sticks with you.
inside of you.
It's true.
It's like it's in you. So
Yeah.
gratitude, like you're stating, is more of a mentality.
A good dinner can make me happy, but a beautiful wife at home like I have and a nice home and a great life, that brings me joy. Happiness comes
Right.
along, but the joy
It's
is
not
definitely
fleeting.
true.
It's yeah, it's harder. Yeah, that's
I can have
beautiful.
a bad day and still feel joy because I
Right.
gotta do is look around at what I have and what I've been blessed with, I guess you could say.
Exactly. Yeah.
When you look back after Gospel Voices, or you look back after a really successful event, or you look back at a just a week where you're just like, man, this was awesome. Consistently, what would you say has happened that would give you that feeling of, wow, what a great event, what a great day, what a great week?
What I get from it is this: when I hear from people who have experienced the concert that we put on, whether it's even with the children or a huge one like Gospel Voices, which is more of a forward-facing concert to help raise money for our students. When I hear that people left with their spirits uplifted, they've felt like, oh, I came in there kind of down and out. I didn't realize the show really was gonna uplift me, and I hear those words, then I know we've accomplished what we've set out to do, to raise spirits and make sure people feel valued and they see the value in others. It just, I don't know, it's just something that just warms your heart.
Mhm.
And that's what it does for me when I hear that feedback of how people experience the shows, and it just takes them to another level. So I love that.
Hadn't planned on asking this question, and if I ask it and you don't like the question, then I'll just delete it out. But talk to that person right now that isn't feeling safe.
Mm,
You've experienced it. Your mom experienced it, your siblings. What I normally ask the last question, what's in your heart? And I'm
mm.
going to ask it as a two-part question because you just spent an hour telling me what's in your heart. It's obvious. God's
Yeah,
in your heart, music's in your heart,
right.
people, joy. But from your heart, talk to that person that is either going through as a mom or going through as a child what you've been through. Any advice, any wisdom, anything from your heart to them?
If you're a mom and you are experiencing that place right now of lack of safety, even for yourself and your child, I would state find a network or group of individuals that you can confide in. Don't hold that to yourself. And when it comes to your child, always reassure them. Children need to hear affirmations. And even when my mom we were dealing with that whole situation of we had to flee a horrible, very dangerous situation. My mom always spoke for us, we're Christians, she always spoke the word of God over us, telling us, you are not the tail, you're the head,
Hmm.
you're strong, you're not weak. You are somebody. And I believe those words of affirmation that my mom gave me is what gave me the confidence and the strength to rise up and to be who I am today. Even in the low points when we were scared and fearful, she was always speaking life over me. So if you're a mom, the number one thing I would say, especially with your children, speak life. Don't speak the fears that you're going through, and it's real, but speak life, encouraging. When you're encouraging and speaking that life over your kids feel like they can make it through anything because they see the strength that they find in you and see it from you as a mom. So be that strength for them. And even maybe you're not going through a situation where you're running from anybody and it's scary, but maybe things are financially tough and you're going through a tough time. Again, the kids pull off of what they experience from the parents. So if you can be strong for them while finding a network of support, maybe it is a spiritual place, a church or synagogue or what have you, find that solace with others that can support you. But for your children, be that strength that they need, and they will rise to be that support that you need as well for you. I hope that makes sense, but that's what my mom did for us. She was always so encouraging.
Amazing. Normally I would stop the recording right there and end there, but I want to give you one more question to answer. Is there anything that we didn't talk about today that you hope to promote that I missed? Anything at all about ALC, about your event, anything upcoming beyond that that you are going to go, oh my gosh, we didn't talk about this?
One more thing, I mentioned earlier that we have a brand new 200-seat theater in Costa Mesa. We are going to be doing our first big production, and it's The Wizard of Oz.
Of course.
Or it's for teens and well, I think it's like middle school through teens will be in this production. I'm sorry, ages 7 to 18. And we would love for you all to come and see the show. The tickets are actually online right now at Arts
Okay.
and you can get your tickets. It's July 18th through the 20th.
Nice.
We'd love to have you come out and be a part of our inaugural production in this brand new state of the art theater. So we'd love to
Awesome.
come out for that. And any classes, we've got plenty of classes happening throughout the summer. Avengers, Minecraft,
Hmm.
believe it or not, Snow White. We've got, a couple of anything that's come out basically in the movies or what have you. We've got those classes happening for kids to join us this summer. So we'd love to have you be a part of that. Or, like I said, join us as a volunteer or link arms with us. But we're open and would want to feel the love from everybody.
I love that. Well, this has been I've been looking forward to this hour with you for a long time. I know we've talked together, we've had lunch together, we've been in a lot of groups together and on a boat together for Eric's birthday and
Yeah.
had a lot of fun conversations, but this is the deepest we've gone and this is awesome. So Deborah, thank you so much. Like I said, we'll air this week so people will hear this leading into the Gospel Voices of Orange County event coming up this Sunday. But beyond that, there's so much that you're doing and so many great things you're doing for our kids, which as a parent and a grandparent, I thank you. I haven't had any kids go through your program yet, but
Yeah.
I do have a bunch of grandsons and a couple granddaughters that you never know. All right, my friend.
Serve your grandkids.
We would love that. Thank you, my friend. And you're the best. Blessings to you and the family.
Blessings to you, and thank you so much for even having me on your podcast. And this is beautiful. You're doing great things, Ed. Keep it up.
I love it. Thanks, Deborah.
Thank you.